Hello students, welcome back to part 2 on basic geometry. So in this particular section, we are going to go a little bit more into the idea of angles formed by intersecting lines. So some concepts that we need to know, that is, if I have adjacent lines on a straight line, they add up to 180 degrees. So in this particular scenario, A plus B gives us 180, right? Because A degree plus B degree is 180 degrees. Now, angles around the point, right? This could be quite easy to understand. In this case, right, if I have A plus B plus C plus D plus E, they add up to 360 degrees, right? And another concept that you probably have learned before is that if I have an intersecting line with the opposite over angles, we call it the vertically opposite angles, they are actually equal. They have to be, right? It makes sense, okay? So it's not too complicated, but with just these basic properties, we are able to actually answer quite a number of geometrical questions. So let's take a look. So here's the first example, right? So we have a shape, some lines like so, and we are told to find the equation, what equations we can form. So the first thing to take note is that, of course, if we add them all up, it should form 360 degrees, right? So we can just write down accordingly. 4b minus, let me write it properly, 21 degrees plus 3, come on, write properly, 2b plus 1 degrees plus b plus 34 degrees plus 3b minus 14 degrees. This is equals to 360 degrees. Now,
what were the biggest changes in the One Piece live action series? Welcome back to Nerdist News. I'm Van Casey and I'm going to be kicking.
Sorry for the interruption. Yeah, my PC at the side just went off. All right, so what do we do here, right? We need to actually look at the angle properties being used, right? The angle properties being used here is actually angles at a point. So we need to be able to identify the properties necessary, right? Whenever we are using them for geometrical purposes. So this is one factor. So of course, if we continue on and try to solve this, we can actually eventually get an idea that B is actually equals to 36 degrees. But feel free to try it out on your own. So basically what's going on here is I just want to highlight the point that when we use a property, right, do make sure that we are aware of what the property is. We need to write it down. But the idea is using the property, we can form the necessary equations, and from the equations, we can solve it. So let's look at some of the idea here, right? So over here, we have Joseph, who says that 3b minus 14 is equals to 2b plus 1 because the two angles are vertically opposite angles. Is it true? Well, the answer is actually no, right? Because in order for it to be vertically opposite angles, the two lines need to directly intersect, right? In this case, we can't really be sure that they are straight lines. In fact, DM and DMF doesn't form a straight line, even if the diagram sometimes looks like it is a straight line from a certain angle. So never make that kind of assumption. Usually, if it is a straight line, the question should tell you quite directly that it is a straight line, right? How about the other situation? Who's that? Anthony. Anthony says the sum of 4b minus 21 and 3b minus 14 is 180. Again, this is, take a look at the diagram again, right? It's talking about the one on top and the ones on the left, right? So again, cannot assume, right? So the idea is cannot assume. Don't assume unless the question tells you that they are straight lines, right? And are the sum of all four the angles 360? Well, this one is yes, right? Because the properties is always true. That's why it's property. The property will work. Whereas other things that is not explicitly stated and it's not a property, we cannot assume. So when we work it out, the value is 336, and that is true. Okay. So since which one they can be solved by three different methods, are there three possible value of B? No, there's only one, right? So always use the properties, right? Use properties, don't assume, right? Don't assume any fact about the diagram just because it looks like so, because the diagrams can be not drawn to scale. So with this, we can very quickly come more practice for you, right? So here we have another activity. We are told this time round explicitly that they are straight line. Now, if they are straight line, of course, now we can use the properties. If they don't tell us that they are straight line, we should not, right? So how do we deal with this? How to find the values here? Okay, so from here, we can actually say that 7a, right, plus 103, okay, this will be 180 degrees, okay, because these are angles on straight lines, right? So on a straight line, this is true. So from here, we know that 7a is equals to 77, a is equals to 11. So we found the a, right? So what is the property here? Okay, the property used in line 1, okay, it's actually found here, right? Is actually angles on a straight line. So again, make sure we are quite aware which properties we are using, because quite often during the assessment, you may be asked to actually write down the property, right? So straight line, okay. Are we able to find the B? Well, why not? Let's do that, right? So maybe I'll just write it here. To find B now, we can just say that 2B plus 13 is equals to 103. And the reason now becomes vertically opposite angles, right? So from here, we know that 2B is equals to 90, B is equals to 45. Got it, right? Now, here we see there's another situation here, right? We have to find part B, okay, Joseph actually made use of angles on a straight line, whereas what Paul did is exactly what I did. So whose working is actually preferred? Well, I would say Paul. That's why I follow him, right? Because the working, right, is independent. Did I spell it correctly? Independent of the answers from previous part, right? So the thing is, if we were to follow what Joseph did, we have to make sure that we have the answer for A correct, right? If we got A wrong, then the B will be wrong as well, because so as far as possible, if we can use the information that is actually not part of our working, that's always preferred. Okay, so that is the important learning point. I hope you have that. Write it down in your own words. Okay, let's move on to the next section. Practice. Right? So in practice here, well, it says, remember, state the angle properties clearly. So we are going to do that. We are told that AOB, COD, EOF are straight lines, so we can use the properties of the straight lines. Right? So let's begin. So let's begin by maybe looking at the angle, let's see. We can say that, okay, we can start looking at the angle BOD, right? Okay, so what happened is, let me write AOE, right? So angle AOE, right, is going to be equals to B degrees. Okay, so this is going to be B degrees. The reason, of course, is vertically opposite angles, right? So once I have that established, I know that COD is a straight line. Therefore, right, therefore 2B plus B plus 2B plus 15, right, this will be equals to 180 degrees. And the reason is angles on a straight line, right? Come on, Apple Pencil. Why is it not working suddenly? My Apple Pencil stopped working. Oh, it's back. Okay, straight line, right? Let me clear that off, right? Okay, so we have that. So you work this one out. We have 5B plus 15 equals to 180. So 5b equals to 165. B equals to 33. Got it, right? And finally, to find C, so we have that. And then to find C, we say that 3C equals to 2B because of vertically opposite angles. So 3C is equals to 66, C is equals to 22. There we have it. Okay, right, one more practice. You try it out. Once you are done, press pause and then compare your answers with mine. Let's take a look. So in this particular figure, AOB and COD are straight lines. That's good, they're given. Find the value of X and Y. So how do we go about doing this? A couple of ways to do this, but let's see what is the most straightforward way. Well, we can say that, let's see. 6x, right? So we can say that AOD, angle AOD is equals to 6x degrees, right? Because vertically opposite angles. So since that that means this one is also, let's mark it out. So that's 6x. So from here, now we can declare that 34 plus 186 minus 4x is equals to 6x, right? So we work this one out. We have 10x is equals to 220. X will be equals to 22. So we found x, right? So that's part one. We still need to find y though, right? So we can find y. One way to do it is we can say that 6x plus 3y equals to 180 because angles on straight line, right? So from here, 6 times 22 is 132. 132 plus 3y is equals to 180. 3y is equals to 48. So y is equals to 16. Got it? Okay. Now part 2, they want us to find the obtuse AOD, right? The obtuse angle AOD. Have we found that? Oh yeah. So angle AOD, obtuse, right? Let's make it very obvious. We'll find the obtuse angle. Obtuse AOD is going to be equals to, well, you can just go 6x, right? Or you can go 34 plus 186 minus 4x, doesn't matter. This one we have is actually 132. We already got that, right? And then we want to find the reflex COE. Now reflex COE, right, is the other way around, right? Let me mark it in red. It's actually this angle over here, right? Because it's reflex, right? So we need to add them up. So we have 6x plus 3y plus 186 minus 4x, which will give us 132 plus 66. Sorry, not 66. Y is actually 16, so 3x is 48 plus 186 minus 4 times 22 is 88. And we end up with 278 degrees. Okay, so that's what we can do, right? Okay, so yep, after that do check out the assessment, and we are done for part 2. So in part 3 we'll